We've got source-based information on what's been decided on the EGoM. Remember, the all-important EGoM on the spectrum user charges was to take place today. It's decided that they're going to fix the spectrum usage charge at 5% of the weighted average. Remember, this is all entirely source-based information. The EGoM meet, of course, has concluded, but for now, this is what our sources are telling us. Not just that, for BWA, the spectrum user charges have been fixed at 1%. In addition to that, the 1% spectrum user charge for BWA will be accounted for separately. Remember, we had two key issues that were underway that were to be discussed in the meeting today. One was, of course, the spectrum usage charge issue. The other important factor would have also been the guidelines on mergers and acquisitions in the industry. Do remember that we had the Attorney General who had said that the government cannot raise the spectrum usage charge on BWA from 1% to 3%, which is what they wanted to do. So they have stuck with that. They have kept the spectrum usage charge at 1% for the BWA segment. As you can see, the stocks as well are taking in this news rather well. Bharti, of course, has recovered from the day's lows. Remember, Idea Cellular, that company would also be coming out with its numbers, and it's expected to be a strong quarterly performance, and it's also recovered from the lowest point. We've got Supriya Sridhar, our policy editor, who also joins in from New Delhi. Supriya.
Well, absolutely. I think this is negative for GSM because the proposal really was initially that they would be charged a weighted average between 1 to 3%. That really hasn't happened. They will be charged 5%, which is much higher than what had been expected. But remember, Reliance was all along saying that this will distort the level playing field. If you understand the dynamics of the sector, GSM will be paying a little less than what they are right now. This will be a 5% charge, but this is not as low as was initially expected, as was being proposed by Finance Ministry of 3%. TRAI had also recommended a 3% charge. This is a 5% charge, which is higher than what had really been accounted for, and which is why it is negative for GSM, and which is why you actually see the GSM stocks like Idea Cellular and Bharti react the way are. Kapil Sibal live right here on ET Now.
Met today, and the issue before the EGoM was the SUC charges, and it was decided by the EGoM that for the 900 and the 1800 megahertz band, the spectrum usage charges shall be at a rate of 5%. But what will be charged from the telecom operators if they are using other spectrum other than BWA would be the weighted average of the new spectrum that they buy and the use of the old spectrum. But in no case shall that charge be more than 5%. Companies like Airtel, Vodafone and the major players would have, under the old regime, had to pay up to 8% or 8.2% because that was the slab rate that was prevalent earlier. So the big players will benefit to that extent. The small players will also benefit. And with greater investment in the sector and a successful auction, the consumer will benefit. No big gainers, no big losers. Ultimately, in the long term, the consumer will be the gainer.
So do you think
इस जो आज EGoM की मीटिंग हुई है उसमें जो स्पेक्ट्रम यूसेज चार्जेस का मुद्दा जिस पे फैसला करना था वो फैसला हमने किया है और उसके अंतर्गत ये तय किया है कि जो नया ऑक्शन होगा 1800 और 900 के मेगाहर्ट्ज बैंड में